Welcome, bout betters. Well, no full recap this week. As always, we move on to the next. We are transparent, and I had a tough 2-unit loss. I always take Sunday to lick my wounds or to celebrate. I actually probably over-celebrated on Saturday when I lost my money. My largest loss being Marc-Andre Barrios on the money line and cumulative parlays with Denise Bondar and Joey's pick, Miles Johns. I wouldn't consider them bad reads or bad beats, but great performances by their opposition. With Barrios getting starched in 15 seconds after historically having a solid chin, I was most disappointed by that, as I had numerous people tail me, and it was my largest exposure. It's MMA, but being on the wrong side of these plays destroyed me despite backing and tailing the Mattress guy's pick of Nick Maximoff. But unfortunately, I lost a little of that winning by chasing Maximoff by submission, speculating that that would be his win condition. So a lot of bad betting on my part. Far too many props played and lost. Battle was another moneyline won and prop loss where I went large on the prop as well, assuming that his win condition would be submission. A good performance by Maximoff and a great read by the Mattress guy. Again, I lost more money. I had Carlton Harris in a play. It was a big play. All this sloppy gambling, the chasing the money, trying to be sneaky or a sniper had me leaving the casino upset and disappointed. So I'm also upset that you supporters lost based on my speculation and information. Back to being even for the year, but that doesn't help you. Major props to you guys continuing to support in the comments section and just to watch this content. Major props to the Mattress guy for calling out great reads and great picks that can help you make money, and I'm happy to include him in my content. I have to look forward at the opportunities, not certain if this is the best probable bout between Derek Brunson, the fierce grappler, and ground and pounder versus a big middleweight in Cannonier, who once fought at heavyweight. Out the gate, I would ask or tell to be cautious, betting each of their win conditions, because this is MMA, and these fights are always easily predictable, but harder to pick the probable winners or the probable outcomes. And me being a prop bettor, this has gotten me into a trap, into a lot of problems. This could be your typical striker versus grappler match, but Brunson does have power in his hands and can throw some kicks as well. I was surprised here at the XR metrics. Brunson wins rounds and wins fights, and I was very surprised by that. You look at the amount of knockout wins, and Cannonier has 71% knockout wins. Both these guys are finishers. I think not to go the distance, if this were a 5-rounder, that would be an easy play. But I think this is going to be a more challenging fight. Not necessarily than the odds would be, but it's going to be a tough fight for both of these guys. They both have the skill sets that counter each other and make it a challenge for one to be superior than the other. I mean, that Cannonier has great leg kicks. He likes to stay on the outside, and he likes to chop away at his opponents, slow them down with lower body kicks. Cannonier is always constantly circling. He is never still and has various attacks from the outside. He always moves at angles, laying a shot and then circling off quickly. But if he's pressed like he was against Bobby Knuckles, and for round one, or round two actually, against Calvin Gastelum, his timing and thus his rhythm is thrown off. Brunson is the more experienced fighter here with a better win percentage, more fights, better strength of competition. But I don't know if that experience will come into play, because I think there's two different athletic skill sets here. Cannonier enjoys using his movement to open up his kicks and his power overhand and right that can easily hit the sloppy attacking Brunson, who is vulnerable to that strike due to his poor striking defense. Cannonier uses his power to avoid takedowns, and Brunson uses his power to set up takedowns. Problem for Brunson is that he doesn't set up his strikes very well, nor does he alter the array and direction of his body movement or any of his attacks. His striking is still rudimentary and are just setups for his takedowns. You have to give different looks to be effective against Cannonier on the feet. You got to close off the cage with pressure to get to him stationary or get him stationary. Challenge for Brunson, besides his low offensive output, is that Cannonier has a good fight IQ and octagon awareness. He knows how to counter strike and move and stick and move in a manner that will tax Brunson's cardio and take a toll on his offensive takedown ability. Cannonier is slick, switching stances and attacks with precision and good timing. Brunson, being one-dimensional in his approach, will enable Cannonier to read you easily. Brunson's cardio is also questionable, and unfortunately for him, or fortunately for him, this is a 3-round fight. But unfortunately, his striking and movement deficiencies, along with his lack of an effective jab, give him few tools to alter Cannonier's actions. Whitaker won his match with Cannonier not only by that jab, but always going first and constantly closing off the cage, variables and skills that Brunson hasn't shown improvements on. But Brunson's takedown attempts, and if he lands them or one early, can throw Cannonier off balance, and that's what he needs to do. He's got to mix it up. He's got to do what Maximov does. He's got to control him and get him onto the mat and tire and wear him down and change Cannonier's movement, because the guy can move very well both offensively and defensively. It's tough to speak of Brunson's technical striking because that's not his methodology. The strikes are a setup, and he has power in his hands. He dropped Romero. He knocked out Uriah Hall. He knocked out Sam Alvey and knocked out Machida. But he leaves his hands low, and although he's quick in his scrambles when he's grappling or even when he's striking or trying to get away, he leaves himself wide open to any attack. In fact, he's turned his back and ran away from his opponents. Brunson's lack of defensive ability to parry any strikes, his lacking in movement laterally or even timing going forward and backwards and defending himself as he's doing these things makes him an easy target for Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier is going to be able to read these factors in him and be able to not only tee off on him, but make him a target to KO him, because Jared Cannonier does have that power. We all know that Brunson needs to grapple to get the win, whether by finish or by decision. He needs to close distance. He needs to get a body lock. He needs to pressure Cannonier on the cage. He needs to put him down onto the mat. But he's just so sloppy with his offensive movement and even his top control. Even in a dominant position, he can possibly give that up. And this is why, for me, I favor Cannonier in this matchup. If Brunson doesn't do damage and control Cannonier on the mat, Brunson is exposed not only to being outpointed for 3 rounds, but knocked out on any time or any point on the feet. I'm not overlooking Brunson's power nor his wrestling prowess, but Cannonier is going to be game to thwart these takedowns. He's also a lot stronger than a lot of Brunson's opponents. He's really fought a lot of smaller middleweights. Jared Cannonier has a great, not just a takedown defense. Don't look just at the 62% number. The guy has a good get-up game, and he's just so strong on his lower body. But Brunson's a different beast. He's an all-American wrestler. Jared Cannonier has not faced a wrestler like Derek Brunson, nor has Brunson faced a striker. Actually, he has, and he's been knocked out. Derek Brunson's been knocked out by a lot of good strikers. All the champs, all the better strikers have finished him or defeated him, and that's why Jared Cannonier is the favorite in this, because we have that striker versus wrestler scenario. Brunson also gasses, which makes me hesitate, but not G the Mattress Guy. G the Mattress Guy has faith in Brunson's ability to control his opponents, and his last loss was to the champ. And since then, he's been whooping all the prospects, and he's fought all the old G's in his time. And his strength of schedule, his experience will play a big factor here. Brunson is red hot right now, and I'd have to agree with that. Cannonier struggled against Kelvin Gastelum, and Kelvin didn't even wrestle. But I don't think Brunson is anywhere near the level of striker as Kevin Gastelum. I do agree with G the Mattress Guy. If Cannonier plays that kicking game from the outside, We know what Brunson's going to do. He's going to shoot across the octagon, press him on the cage, and implement his grappling game plan. Do you guys agree? Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. If you've made it this far, you are a bout better. Thank you very much.